Kiss, welcome to today's Big Brother 19 updates and spoilers. Our house kiss today is Wilson Matthias. Wilson, hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for your support. And if you guys want to be house kiss today, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. I don't know how this always happens, but it seems like this season something wild occurs right after we film the spoiler for the day, and it is so frustrating. So all week, Paul and his crew have been planning this big blindside. Jess wants Josh out, but they're all planning on voting out Ramses. It should be a 7-3 vote. And the 3 would be Cody, Mark, and Elena. So they're not in on the blindside, nor is Jess or Ramses. So then, guess what, guys? Kevin pulls Jessica aside in the bathroom. They actually go into the stall for privacy. And Kevin says, they're trying to flip the vote. He said, I think the little kid with the glasses is going home. Oh, Ramses, little kid with the glasses. So he said the only reason he's telling her this is because they're both from Boston and they're pals. So he's like, it's all right, just keep your composure, don't freak out. He says, you told me about the thing, meaning the temptation, so you'll be all right, don't worry about it. So Kevin's like, I'm gonna need your help because you're way better at this than I am. So, is she though? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But Jess is like, all right, thanks for telling me. I'll figure it out. So Jess goes to work. She goes to the Apple Lounge with Elena and Christmas, and she's like, guys, I really need you to vote out Josh this week. I was thinking Elena for some reason, and I was like, that's not right. Yeah, she says, I really need you to vote out Josh this week. So she's claiming that she's walked in on some conversations and it seems like the votes may be flipping. Yes, she walked into the conversation with Kevin when he told her the votes are flipping. But she doesn't tell them that Kevin told her. She's just like, yeah, I've been hearing some fishy things. People have stopped talking when I've walked in the room. It's like really weird. So she's saying she doesn't want Ramses to be a casualty of her HOH. She'll feel awful. And Elena's just like, why would anyone want to keep Josh? It does not make sense. So Jess is like, I don't know. There might be something going on Jason and Alex's side. They're kind of sus. So Elena's like, well, they haven't come to me to talk about it. Duh, because you're not in on it. So Elena says, I am not voting Ramses out. No freaking way. So then Jess turns to Christmas and she's like, Christmas, I know we talked a few days ago about you potentially giving Josh a sympathy vote, but I really need you to not freaking do that. She is concerned, and Christmas did say the other day, like, if you're not feeling comfortable with it, just let me know and I'll vote Josh out like everybody else. So this time Christmas tells her, all right, if you're still feeling uncomfortable tomorrow morning, let me know and we'll touch base then. She's gonna vote Ramses out. Okay, so then Jess tells Cody what's up in the HOH room and she's freaking pissed. She's like, I knew it the second I didn't use the veto that this was gonna happen. She's like, Kevin told me that they're trying to flip the vote and he didn't give me names, but she feels that Paul is the one responsible for this. I think that's a pretty safe bet considering everybody just does what Paul wants. So Jess is like, I think that Paul is keeping Elena out of the loop because she's close with Ramses, also because she's close with you, and he's trying to rally the rest of the house to vote him out. So that sucks. So Jess is saying she's not going to sleep tonight. She's going to interrupt every conversation downstairs. Just jumping ahead a little bit, that didn't actually happen. But she's really mad at herself for not using the veto and taking control of the situation when she had the chance, because she could have used it on Ramses, put up somebody else, and she did actually think about doing that, and, excuse me, it almost seemed at one point like she would do that, but she didn't, so this is where she finds herself now. So Kevin joins them in the HOH room, and he's like, you're not saying anything, are you? You're not giving anybody my name, are you? And they're like, no, no. So he agrees that he's going to vote out Josh this week. Will he, though? I think he's just saying that. So he tells them, again, don't be shocked if Ramses is voted out. I don't know if it's for sure yet, but don't be shocked if it happens. So then Kevin leaves, and Jess and Cody are trying to figure out, is there anything they can do at this point to fix this? And they're thinking, not really. But Cody still wants to try and talk to Jason and Alex and see what's up. But Jess is just pissed that her HOH was a waste this week. Yeah, you really blew it. Okay, so Cody Cody's in the bathroom with Alex and Jason, and he asks Alex, am I going to be surprised by the vote tomorrow? And Alex is like, what? She says, I don't think so unless I'm surprised too. So then Cody is talking to Jason one-on-one, and he's like, am I getting effed on this vote? And it's getting like really intense. And Jason's like, no, Josh is going home. So he's saying, if you're getting effed, I'm getting effed too. So then Cody's like, well, I've heard that Paul's been going around saying stuff, trying to flip the vote. What's going on with that? And Jason's like, I don't know. He said he'll talk to Alex about it, make sure they're all good. And Cody's like, I will lose my effing mind if Josh isn't evicted. I'll win the HOH and no one will be safe. And then Jason seems freaking shook. He's just standing there like, don't hurt me. Okay, so Christmas lets Paul in on what's going on here. She tells him about her conversation with Jess. Alex was there for this too, for the beginning of it. So she's like, yeah, Jess told me that she's feeling uneasy about the vote and that her conversation with you, Paul, not RuPaul, that'd be awesome though, Paul, freaked her out. It really got her thinking about things because remember, Paul was basically telling Jess like the house wouldn't be upset with either nominee leaving, so like it's whatever. Jess didn't like that. So Paul's like, you know what, I don't mind taking the heat for this, but he wants to make damn sure that that vote is going to be 7-3 because he feels like if all 7 of them stick together, it's going to send Cody and Jess a message, and he thinks that they're less likely to be mad at everyone. I don't think so. I think they're still going to be mad at everybody. They already have that mentality now that it's the 2 of them versus the rest of the house, so whatever. So then they're talking about Elena, and they feel like she's a way better player than Mark. Yeah, duh. So their target list now is Cody, then Elena, then Jess, and then Mark. They're not really worried about him at all right now because he really sucks at comps. Okay, so then Cody and Jess were in the HOH room again complaining about everybody, and Jess, she's realizing like, wow, I can't make any more safe moves. I just need to go for it next time. So then, just as she's saying like, I could really go for a bottle of wine and a Xanax right now. I don't want to deal with these people. Big Brother's like, guess what? It's time for an HOH lockdown. So the feeds went down for a little bit while everybody went up there. Production had to like clean up this lamp that Jason and Alex broke in the Rose bedroom. There was like glass all over the place. It was dangerous. Can you imagine if Christmas stepped in that glass? Alright, so anyway, it must have been super awkward with everybody up in the HOH room, but after that was all done, Mark and Elena were still up in the HOH room with Jess and Cody, and Elena's like freaking passed out on the floor, or at least pretending to be asleep. So Mark is like, I am definitely voting Josh out. You don't have to worry about my vote. And he says, nobody's come to me about flipping the vote. You think? They're not including you in on this, Mark. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I feel like Mark right now. So then Jess is talking about how Christmas wants to throw Josh a sympathy vote. Mark goes on this rant about how he thinks that's stupid. He's like, what's the point of sympathy votes anyway? Bleh. And Elena, out of nowhere, remember, they thought she was sleeping, out of nowhere, she's like, you wanted to give Dom a sympathy vote. And Mark freaking raises his voice, and he's like, are you kidding? He's like really upset about it. He's like, I didn't want to after she blew up and mentioned your name, did I? So they're going back and forth about that a little bit. Mark does not like being challenged. Okay, so then the feeds go down for a bit. And it appears that during that time, Big Brother showed them some pictures to study for the next HOH competition. It's one of those memory ones. So I guess the pictures had evicted house guests in them with like all these crazy weird tattoos and like locations and stuff. So there were a lot of little details in the photos for the house guests to study and remember for this competition. So they were all like grouping up and studying, except for like Josh. Nobody wanted to be seen studying with him because they're still trying to keep up this whole blindside charade. And then Cody and Jess were not really studying either compared to everybody else. I mean, Jess obviously is not eligible to compete for this next HOH, but you would think she would want Cody to study. I guess they're just like, whatever, we got the halting hex, but wouldn't you want to win the next HOH and then save that for the week after? Well, Okay, whatever. So anyway, Paul and Elena have a quick game chat in the living room. Oh, I just want to say too, I was definitely wearing this today before I saw that Elena was wearing a big pink bow, so I'm not trying to copy her. I was wearing it first today. So Paul and Elena, quick game chat in the living room. He says that he's got some concerns. He wants to talk about this more later, but he's hearing that Mark now has like a clean slate with Jess and Cody. What's that all about? And he also says, you're associated with all that, so what's going on there? So Elena's like, oh, I'm not a part of that. I was up in the HOH room with them earlier, but I was just lying on the floor listening. Like, I was not contributing to that. So Paul's like, all right, well, don't let a showmance ruin your game. And Elena says, I won't. Okay, so then, Josh all week has pretty much been isolated, and now he's definitely feeling bored again. Every once in a while he gets super bored and he has to do something outrageous. So last night, Josh knocked the pillow mountain off of Mark's have-not bed. All the guys this week, by the way, have made the most ridiculous pillow beds. They're like freaking multiple feet tall. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Alex walked into the have-not room and saw it. She was cracking up, and Josh was like, don't say shit, shh. So then, like 10-ish minutes later, Mark walks into the have-not room and sees the bed in disarray. And he's just like, Alex, I'm going to ask you one time, did you do this? And she's like, no. And then Josh is like, don't even touch my bed. And Mark freaking explodes. He yells, Josh, did I ever say your name? He is so pissed. So then Kevin goes in the have-not room. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's trying to calm everybody down. He's like, what's going on here? You know, we're already living the shit life in this have-not room. I can't believe somebody would come in here and do this. Like, just relax. He says he doesn't want to see people fighting over this. It's not worth it. Josh is trying to still jump into this, and he's just like, I'm not going to let people talk to me disrespectfully. And Kevin's like, who disrespected you? And Josh is like, Mark yelled at me. So it didn't really turn into this huge explosion because Kevin really, like, calmed everything down, and Mark didn't want to give the reaction that he knows that Josh was looking for. I'm pretty sure he knows that Josh is the one who actually did it. So Mark just puts on his sunglasses, pulls up his hoodie, and gets into bed. So sad. So then Paul is seeming a little nervous. It seems like he's nervous that Elena could win this HOH competition. He was talking to Raven, Matt, and Christmas in the Apple Lounge, and they all agree Elena's got a really good memory, and she knows all of this shit for this competition. So they're like, damn, she could win. So Paul is trying to come up with a plan, lay some groundwork, just in case Elena wins this week's HOH. So he's like, we really need to separate her from the Jody and Mark group. And he's saying, Elena is already saying that she doesn't like what Mark is doing with Jess and Cody, getting close to them again. So he feels like she could potentially separate from them completely after she sees the vote this week. And that she's like on the outs with everybody. I agree. Like, I think when most people are left out of a vote like this, they want to stick with the people that were involved in it with them, but I feel like Elena is going to be like, Paul, take me back, and she's going to do whatever Paul wants. So, yeah, I think Paul's got a pretty good read on her, but he is saying, like, yeah, I'm going to work on Elena, see what I can do, and see if I can get her to separate from Mark, Jess, and Cody. So, Paul talks to Elena again in the Rose bedroom, and he's expanding on his conversation from earlier. And Elena's like, I told Mark a few times that I don't like what he's doing with Jess and Cody. It's not cool. So Paul's like, yeah, it's not subtle. Everybody can see him hanging out with them. And he's noticed her up in the HOH with all of them a bunch of times too. So Elena's like, it's not my fault. Mark doesn't understand the difference between reality and perception, and that is such a huge thing in this game. So Paul is like, all right, well, he's talking about the HOH this week. He really wants to win it, and he's asking, do you think that Mark has the capability to win? And Elena says, no. Ouch! She knows he's dumb. So she also says, like, if Mark does win, she doesn't think that he would put Paul up on the block. So Paul again warns her to be careful about who she's associating with because people are noticing. And she's like, all right, well, how can I separate myself more from him? And Paul says, I don't know. I can't tell you that. She is freaking eating out of his hands. So then a little while later, Elena was talking to Paul, Raven, and Matt, and she's like, I don't want to win this next HOH, and she says that she will throw it if she feels comfortable with the people left in the competition. And she clarifies that that would be like Mark, Paul, Matt, and Raven. She would throw it to any of them. So then, Paul is he's doing a good job of driving a wedge between Elena and Mark. They were arguing last night, and Elena's like, I don't like when you raise your voice at me. And I believe she's referring to earlier in the night when they were in the HOH room with Jess and Cody, the whole sympathy vote thing for Dominique, and he definitely raised his voice, but he is denying it. Oh my god. You can never tell Mark that he's wrong. So Elena's like, also, I don't like you spending so much time with Jess and Cody, but you can do whatever you want because I'm not your keeper. So then she's like, just keep in mind, your actions affect my game because everybody associates me with you. So during this whole thing, Mark is a man of very few words. He's sitting there with this confused look on his face. He's just like, the whole time, oh my gosh. And she's like pissed that he's not really contributing to this conversation. So they talk and not talk in circles for a long time. Mark talks about his feelings, blah, 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 I really like you. I guess they made up, I don't know. She's definitely been icing him out today. It's been noticeable. I think she's trying to jump ship as much as she can. Okay, so let's talk about what happened this morning. Josh is stirring up some crap. He was banging pots and pans to wake up Mark. Definitely trying to copy Evil Dick. Why can't he just come up with something new? And Cody was like, oh, he wanted to be Evil Dick. Fail. Okay. So Josh is yelling, good morning, sunshine. Time for some cereal. And then he's going in and out of the have-not room, doing this over and over again. He's taking breaks to wash his face, brush his teeth. And then he's yelling, wake up, wake up. 7 hours of hell, buddy. And he's saying he leaves at 8 o'clock, which I don't think is even accurate on, unless you're talking like Central Time. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. No, not even. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Maybe, so anyway, he's telling Mark, I want a bond. It's my last day. Then he starts singing that circus song that he loves. So eventually Mark gets out of bed. He's walking around trying to get away from Josh, and Josh is trying to mess with Elena too. She's just like, whatever, dude. So then Mark is freaking straight up hiding in the Apple Lounge. Josh is trying to talk to him through the glass door. And Mark is just like, Josh is bullying me. I can't believe that Big Brother's letting him do this. What about when you threw freaking hot sauce in his eyes? That's like assault. That is physical assault, but whatever. I'm spitting everywhere. Bah! So eventually Cody brings Mark up to the HOH room. He's away from Josh. Okay, so then, you know, it's a Thursday, so they have their HOH lockdown. After that, people are scrambling. Jess asked Kevin about his vote. He admits that he will be voting out Ramses because that's where the votes are going this week. There's nothing he could do about it. And Kevin lets Jess know, like, the ones you think are on your side aren't. So I mean, he's definitely talking about Matt and Raven, but I wouldn't be surprised if she thought he meant Elena and Mark. But I'm pretty sure she got the message that it's Matt and Raven. So then Jess tells Elena that she got the last temptation, and she said it's better than Paul's. And she also says that she and Cody are going to be safe for a few evictions, which is not true. It lasts for a few evictions if she doesn't use it, but she can only use it once. But she's like, oh, sorry, I can't give you details. How convenient. Okay, so then Cody lets Ramses know it's not looking good for him. He doesn't straight up say, like, you're going home, but he's like, the votes are not looking good. You need to go and try and see what you can do. Secure those votes. Do whatever you have to do. Cry if you need to. So Ramses is off to the races. He's making the rounds. He talks to Elena, Matt and Raven, Alex and Jason. They're all saying that he has their votes. Only one person there is telling the truth, and that's Elena. So then Elena's talking to Mark, and she's like, I'm not going to throw this HOH if the votes come out weird. Ah! Okay, so I can't watch Elena and Mark stare blankly anymore. I mean, sometimes they're staring at each other and saying nothing. Sometimes they're not even looking at each other and saying nothing for like really long periods of time, and it's just, it's too much. So anyway, today there's been lots of studying for the HOH competition. Paul's giving out haircuts. Did they watch last season? Didn't Paul do Paulie's haircut? It seems like he was doing a better job today though, so that's good. And other than that, Ramsey should be leaving tonight. Should be a 7-3 vote, unless people change at the last minute. I think Paul was talking about telling Mark and Elena at the last second so that they wouldn't be completely blindsided, and maybe they'll still potentially want to work with them. I don't know. But if, I don't know, it should be 7-3. So don't be surprised if it's not. Alright, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments who you want to win HOH, and until next time, much love.